In this lesson, we'll start creating the functionality of our new GeoSearch page. It will look similar to this. We'll have our Algolia search results on the left, and their corresponding properties on the right. Whenever you search for a city in the top bar, we'll update the results based on your selection. Let's get started. The first thing we'll want to do is head on over to our Data API plugin, so we can make some additions. We'll need a way to search properties by geolocation. The idea is that we give a function a latitude, longitude, and radius, and return their properties within the area. Since this is still a query, let's start by copying getUser by home ID and name it getHomes by location. Next, remove the home ID parameter and add lat, long, and radius in meters. Let's give radius in meters a default value of 1500, which is just under a mile. We'll play with that more later. Now let's update the fetch URL and replace users with homes. Since we're going to be filtering results by geolocation, we no longer need the home ID filter, so let's remove that. We'll also be returning more than one result, so let's add a hits per page property in our body object. Let's use 10 for now. In order to filter by geolocation, we'll need to add a property called AroundLatLong. Let's take a look. It takes a string in the format of lat_long, separated by a comma. If you'd like to learn more, I left a link in this lesson's description. Let's use this now. So now that we have a point on the globe to search from, we'll need to tell Algolia how far out to search. By default, it has some smarts built into it. It will take the density of the result set and expand the search until it has enough results. The problem with that is since we have such a small set of data, we could be searching for a city 1,000 miles away and still get results, even though they're nowhere near our target area. The property AroundRadius solves this problem. It takes an integer of meters and filters our properties to only those that are actually located in the radius around the target location. Let's add that now. Let's not forget to add this function to our inject. Great. Now let's head on over to our search page to start using this function. The first thing we'll want to do is get this data out of the query object so we can start passing it to other places. Since we want these pages to be easily crawlable by search engines, let's create an async data method. Remember, there is no this in async data, so let's destruct our query from the context parameter. Next, let's take that query and return an object with their label, lat, and long. Some of you may be thinking, why not use the spread from the query? It would save you 2 lines of code. Honestly, it's tempting. But that means that any query string parameter in the URL would magically become a data property. And that makes me a little uncomfortable. Remember that anything returned from async data is merged with the component's local state. So that would allow people to override much more than we intended. Even though Vue and Nux do a great job at protecting us, that seems like a huge security problem just waiting to happen. I'll take the 2 extra lines of code. Now we should be able to replace our template output with our new data properties. Let's save and take a look at our browser. Refresh the page for good measure and search for Vail, Colorado. Great! Our new properties are coming through. Next, let's use them in async data so we can get properties to display. In order to access Get Homes by Location, we have to destructure Data API from our context parameter object. Next, let's call our Get Homes by Location function by passing it the lat and long and assign it to a constant called data. Don't forget to add async and await. In order to use this data in our template, we need to add a property called homes. Set it to data.json.hits, just like what we did on the property page. Alright, now let's see if we can get some property data to show up. In our template, let's use a v-for using homes, and as usual, key off home.objectID. And for now, let's just output the home title. Let's save and check it out. And let's refresh the screen. Awesome! We see our two results. Next, let's search for Beaver Creek, Colorado. Nothing happened. Aha! Since we're already on the search page, async data isn't being called again. We need a way to tell our page to refresh. Since we're already using async data, let's use watch query. It takes an array of query string names to watch. Anytime they change, it will automatically trigger async data for us, so our page can refresh. Since lat long are so granular, let's just watch lat for now. And save. Let's go back to the browser and refresh. Nice, we see results. Now let's search for Vail again. Perfect, the results refresh. Now we have basic geo search set up. This is really exciting. Next up, let's add more data and logic to our page so we can get a better idea of what we're looking at.